Good morning, everybody. It's weekend today. Eli,
Yeah,
good morning.
Yeah,
You're
morning,
looking
Nigerians.
angelic.
The Spirit of the Lord
The
is
spirit
upon
of the Lord is upon you.
Yes.
Okay. Philip, how you doing?
Oh, thank God it's Friday.
Thank God.
Yeah.
But the team say you no get action.
Well, it depends on what you mean by
You
action.
don't get action.
Well, that's your interpretation.
You know, my friend, you be no get action.
You may never know.
It was in our car for sit down for there that get action.
you. Which of the Okafor? The one that moved from Labour Party with his support? I want to know with the 5 million.
All right. I really don't know what's going on, in our political circle when it comes to the president and the governors. They move from one place to the other, and especially I'm really not too feeling good when I see anti-democratic statements going on, especially when it comes to power or politics in a very dirty way. Fubara says that the president, prevented anarchy in Rivers State by declaring a state of emergency. I don't think that should have come from Fubara. But Philip, I want to hear from you.
Well, I'm surprised you're saying that you don't think that should come from Fuba.
Yes.
The only thing we have in this country today, as regard the Nigerian politicians, one thing is common to them, and that thing is what was propounded by the then governor of Ekiti State, president of Fayoshe. Fayoshe.
Okay.
When he said stomach infrastructure.
Wow.
That is taking care of the stomach infrastructure. You see, why would Fubara say what he said? He needs his office back. And the only way he can get his office back is to play to the gallery, to be a sycophant of the president. So, for me, it wasn't a surprise. Yes, I agree with you that it's anti-democratic language, wherein everybody has said in this country that the action of the president by declaring state of emergency do not follow due process of law, especially how the National Assembly arrived at their two-third majority of ratifying the state of emergency. But here we are, the supposed victim of this action is saying that, if the president hadn't done this, it would have been something else. Instead of anarchy would have happened in Rivers State. What it means to say that, yes, what the president saw, we were not seeing it. So he knew what he was into, what he was doing, and the president stopped him. For me, he's accusing himself. The president stopped him for creating sort of anarchy in Rivers State. If not for the president, he was prepared to go all the way to create sort of anarchy. That's my interpretation of his statement. But for the intervention of the president, he couldn't go ahead. Now they are trying to reconcile. So he said again that he encouraged all his supporters and everyone to come down from their high horse and go for reconciliation. Because what that means to me that they've come to an extent where they were going to crash all civil and civilized activities in Rivers State. This is the country we find ourselves. I don't know whether he meant what he said or he just said it for political reason. But from the ordinary meaning of it, yes.
For him to have said it at all.
Yes.
Eli, a particular state judge resigned from the service because he said he cannot serve under a SOLAD. It's anti-democratic and he's not going to follow that way. Will you term him a loser by the statement of Fubara?
No, he's not a loser because he's a man that is protecting his name, his integrity, and the rule of law, the office. He has shown to the world that he's a man of just character. All right, he's not a man that is enticed by material things. He's a man that wants to see things being done the right way. And now, if Fubara's statement today is like an acceptance of what the presidency do or did in Rivers, and then we want to compare to what the man has said, what we should also check is what the man stand for or stood for in his time in office. Is it just? Is it right? And the answer to it is, of course, yes. There is a judge, lawmaker, people that protect the law. And then he is the hope, part of the hope of the common man. And he came to say he's not resigning because he hated the sole administrator of the state. He's not resigning because he disliked the ruling party or the opposition party. He's resigning because he says what they have done is not in accordance with what should have been done under the law. And he's a law officer. So I won't say what the governor come up to say today is a way of saying maybe the man was wrong. No. The governor has his interest to protect. The judge, I wish we have many of them in this country, that will resign from office because they feel that what is happening under their watch as people whom these officers were being given to protect is wrong. And the only way you can tell the world that what is happening is wrong, if it's actually wrong, is to remove yourself from being part of it. The man should keep taking credit.
Philip, there were a lot of protests against Solad. Of course, there were a lot of protests for, but the voice of the protest or voice of dissent was much. Now, I've always said that it's not just only about now. Can we have a president declare a state of emergency in 15 states, 16 states, 17 states, all over the country, and appoint Solad in all these places? Because this is a test. It's a test of our democracy. And now the victims, so to speak, are giving credence to what the president did. Are they doing what is right? Is the president, first of all, is he doing what is right? By your interpretation or by the constitution?
Well, I will not delve into whether the president is doing what is right or not doing what is right. You know why? Because the matter is sub judice. It's before the court. Until the court interprets it otherwise, the action of the president remains the action of the president. Now, I have said in my opening speech what was presumed by the eyes of all, that the action of the National Assembly is not in entitlement with the law. That I can speak of. But again, that is subject to interpretation of the Supreme Court. Right. So now, coming to the issue of, the victim speaking in favor of the action of the president. I've said here and now that, look, he has given credence to what the president has done. It shows that he knows more than what we know. He was actually preparing the state for a state of anarchy, but for the president intervention, because he was the key actor. If he's saying that the state was headed for anarchy, and is a key actor in the state, that means that he's the person that was pushing the state towards a state of anarchy. What for me is self-indictment on him. But again, this is Nigeria.
Well, a little contribution to what my colleague here have said and kept on emphasizing. You see, the governor was the chief security officer of the state. And the truth is this, brother. If we are in this studio at this moment, if there is an attack, people pushing to enter the studio to attack us, definitely we will use everything we have to fight back and protect our lives. And so the governor sitting in his state, knowing he has not done any impeachable act, was not being, the state was not, the legislative of the state was not being used to try to impeach him. He was rather being forced or attempting to force him to do things against the will of his people. This is a governor who came to declare the internally generated revenue times 2 of what the state was used to know. This is the same governor who, under 1 year and some months, was delivering seriously for his state. And there was an internal and external factors that were trying to suppress him from the development of the state and for the political gain of few individuals. Of course, if you are in that position as the governor, your loyalists, your supporters will want to fight back. Definitely, and if you are trying to push the thief or your attackers away and they refuse to go and they are pushing back, what do you call that? It's definitely going to end in crisis. And so if the president's intervention, because of course there was crisis where the state assembly had to be demolished, a lot of activities had to be on standstill. So if it was going to that level and the governor used such a language, I think what it meant, to my own understanding, is that Definitely, if not for the intervention of the president,
Alright.
they wouldn't have laid down their arms. The other group might not have laid down their arms, and only God knows what would have happened. Because Rivers State is not like FCT; it's a state where people
Alright.
are armed and
Alright.
they are stubborn.
Now, Philip, last question. I know I asked it before. Now, is it prejudiced if you speak on a constitutional matter or because the case is in court? I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. We have constitutional issues. The Constitution says thus, and thus. The country is governed by the Constitution, not just initiative, not just morality. It's what the Constitution says. Now, do you think, from what the Constitution says, the president was right constitutionally?
Well, by the provision of the Constitution, especially Section 305 of the Constitution of 1999 Constitution as amended, give power to the president to declare a state of emergency if...
Thus.
Now, the president said this thing existed, but the Constitution went further to store abuse of that power and give power to the National Assembly to conduct election to ratify this declaration by 2/3 majority. And in this case of Rivers State, the president had declared a state of emergency, has exercised that power under Section 305.
Okay.
And he has sent the Gazette to the National Assembly for ratification. Don't forget, the country is saying that there were no crisis to the extent wherein state of emergency should be declared in Rivers State. That there were no immediate fears that Rivers State is going into collapse that will warrant the declaration of emergency. It was the duty of the National Assembly, the Senate and the House of Reps, to say either yes or no to this action of the president. But they went ahead and ratified it by voice vote. I have always speak against that voice voting. If you ask me whether the Constitution allowed the president to declare state of emergency, my answer will be in the affirmative.
Yes.
It has. But with condition. Do they meet the condition? These are the matter before the Supreme Court. That is what I cannot speak on
Because
at the moment.
Prejudiced. All right. Eli, in closing, do you think by Fubara's statement, the People's Army is weakened?
Of course. Because this is a state where women, children, the youths, the women, the workers, even a sitting judge of the state enjoying his office, resign in protest of what is on ground. This is a state where all the appointees were removed, the elected officers were removed, and then the people of Nigeria were saying that this action was too hard and it's not supposed. And if the governor will wake up today, of course, if he thinks that the president's interference is bringing about solution and peace to the state, maybe he shouldn't have overpraised the action that led to resignation of some persons and death of many people out of protest and enmity within families.
Right.
I think that is where he got it from.
Okay, so the precedent that these Rivers State issues are going to set, I hope it will foster peace, unity, justice, equity in our country. I just hope so. We'll be right back on News Inside.